does the algorithm of X tend to push toward emotional extremes? I think probably. I don't think that's pure X. I think that's true for virtually all of these platforms, because higher engagement just means you're more emotionally engaged, and that's where the emotivism comes in. But what he's done in terms of opening up the Overton window, allowing for conversations, allowing for the coverage of news stories that never would have been allowed before is great. Community Notes is an amazing feature. It's amazing. Community Notes is a genius thing that he's put in place. And I also, frankly, I kind of love that Elon is kind of freewheeling it. I kind of love that. I think it's more honest. I think that
it's a rich thing to do. Like he's just Bruce Wayne at a different level.
Not just because he's like letting it all hang out, but also because it's actually a more honest way to do the Overton window. So when you're in the Overton window, right? We talked about this with regard to our publication, but it's also true for a platform. So very often what you'll get from a lot of these publishers or a lot of these platforms is, we have a safety standard. It's very broadly worded, and then the algorithm handles it. It's like, that's bullshit. That's not true at all. Like, it's not an algorithm. There's some 21-year-old intern who's decided they don't like a video, and they click the box, and now that video is banned or demonetized. And we all know that's happening. And
which is crazy, dude.
And so you're hiding behind the algorithm. The algorithm is like your all-purpose excuse for what's actually probably happening in the sausage-making process. And Elon is just like making the sausage in plain sight. He's like, okay, so somebody like...
That's the most gangster thing I've ever seen.
And he's like, okay, so somebody's complaining that Alex Jones is not on the platform. Well, maybe I'll think about it. All right, maybe Alex Jones should be on the platform. Right? And then he'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I think Fuentes is a schmuck. I don't like anything he's saying, but also I am pretty committed to free speech, so maybe Fuentes should be here. Right? Like, and then sometimes he'll be like, yeah, that guy's too much of an asshole. He needs to go. Like, you know what? I respect that, because at least you're owning the thing. At least you're owning the thing.
He's very honest.
Well, again, in the same way, I'm not in the same category as Elon wealth-wise. One day I'll invent a space company, or a car company. But I mean, again, when you get back to what we were talking about via our public, like, we're pretty honest. There's certain things that we think violate our standards. You're going, if you don't like it, that's your judgment. You're allowed to make that judgment. For him, he's doing the same thing, and I kind of like it.
You're bringing the foundation that you brought to your home here. I'm not here to teach my kids what their opinions are. I'm teaching them my opinions. And so you're bringing that to the Daily Wire. And you also like the fact that Elon is doing that with X.
Yeah, and I think that he's also being careful, because he's not in quite the same position we are, where it's like, I'm only doing my opinion. He's like, here is the very, very broad panoply of things I think are appropriate. And it's real broad, like super broad, including things that I think most people find kind of egregious morally. But he's like, you know what?
Could you name me one?
Sure. I mean, like, I think that there's an awful lot of Nazi content on X, like actual like pro-Hitler content on X. Do I think that should be banned from X? Probably not. I think that I think it's up to people to look at that and say that's trash. I don't want to be, associated with that, or I don't like it. But
where do you think we should draw the line?
I think where he's drawn it is pretty good. I mean, he said like child pornography, incitement to violence, like actual criminal activity. I think that's the direction that Elon has moved, and that's a ballsy standard. It means that he's running up against the advertisers all the time.
Yeah, right? But that's the coolest part about being Bruce Wayne. You don't need their money. Like him and Trump, their superpowers are need your money.
Right, but also Elon wants that to be a successful business. And so he's coming up with creative ways to monetize on the platform and to come up with new solutions for advertisers. I mean, I admire the hell out of what he's doing. I mean, he came in, he slashed 80% of the staff. I mean, it was like him and 5 guys. And somehow the staff, the site continued to run on kind of, spit and glue. And it was, and now he's building back out some of the teams that he needs. It's an impressive thing. It's a very impressive thing what he's doing.
You got to sit down with him and talk to him. Mm-hmm. How was that interview? Like, did you like it?
Oh, that's fun. I mean,
were you nervous now?
Yeah, so much less. So much less. I mean, I was also on the other side, so it's easier to be the interviewer than the interviewee. Elon is such an interesting cat. He's really, really fascinating. I think that Elon, the way he analyzes things, it's like an alien has arrived and is now trying to discern what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
And so he's always going to first principles, always, right? Whenever in every conversation, he's like, I want to break this down to like the very first principles. He analyzes responses of human beings almost like a scientist would, like breaking it down in the lab. And it's really fascinating. I think that the sort of, he's not personable. He's, pretty, I'm sure that's true for some people. I've never had that personal experience with him, but, I think it's a little overstated. Again, I've never been his employee, which may be a different story, but yeah.
I it's weird. I've never met him. God willing, I'll have the opportunity to sit with him and have a conversation. From my perspective, from what I see through the lens of like social media or his interviews, I see a really intelligent child. Who's a childlike in his heart, where he's like, he wants the best in everybody, but he's been hurt by so much